Are you subscribed to Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports? Why not? We have plenty of great Seahawks content for you each and every day. The latest Seahawks news and rumors. We're all over the NFL draft as the Seahawks have that number 9 pick overall. Plus, we have free agency covered, and we need you to be part of our great coverage here on Seahawks Today. Currently, over 25,000 subscribers, and we would love to get to 26,000, but we need you to join and be a part of the party. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV, or hit the red sub button below to make sure you see the latest Seahawks content. Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, plenty to discuss as Jared Goff, how about a trade to Seattle? We'll break that down for you first. Look at this. This is an idea from Frank T. Raines, as he is a writer with SB Nation covering the Seahawks, and this is something that he brought up. Not an April Fool's joke, as it may seem. Jared Goff argued for this job by Raines here, with a cap hit of about $10.65 million for 2022 is what you're talking about with Goff. And he would cost some future draft picks more than likely. There is some familiarity between Goff and offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, as he ran the same scheme with the Los Angeles Rams, and the numbers, I know that this is an odd thing to say, but in his stretch of those 5 years in Los Angeles running that system that Waldron was a part of from 17 to 20 is pretty similar to what Russell Wilson put up in that same stretch. Look at it. Completion percentage, pretty close. Yardage, big difference for Russell Wilson, over 1,000 more yards. But the touchdown and interception ratio is comparable there. Now, Wilson did have a much higher quarterback rating, but it is something to keep in mind that the drop-off wasn't that much when it comes to statistics. Now, you have to factor in that Jared Goff had a lot of weapons to work with and was not able to stretch the field very well like you would have seen from Russell Wilson and others. But Goff could be an option here potentially for the Seahawks in a trade. Now, look, I'm not a fan of this, but we want to hear from you first of what you guys think in regards to the idea. Should the Seahawks trade for Jared Goff? I know, it may seem like an April Fool's joke of some sorts, but let us know. Type Y for yes, type N for no, and let us know what you think if the Seahawks should bring Goff to Seattle. Now, if you give me the choice, I'm going to be a hard pass on Jared Goff here. I mean, yes, does he have the intangibles, the arm strength, the size, all those things that you're looking for? Sure, but he's stiff, and I don't like his ability to move the football and be efficient and such. I would hard pass on Goff. What you're looking at with Jared Goff, I think the rest of his career, is somebody that is never going to be anybody's long-term solution, that he is going to be a holdover. And the Seahawks already have a holdover quarterback. His name's Drew Lock. So, you know what? I think I'm going to pass on Jared Goff as far as that goes. Another option for the Seahawks potentially at that quarterback position is Desmond Ridder, as the folks at Bleacher Report have Seattle drafting Ridder at number 9 overall in their latest mock draft. Now, all the other mock drafts out there are talking about Ridder as a second-round pick, but this one from Bleacher has him as high as a top 10 pick for the Seahawks. Ridder, good career at Cincinnati, 2-time American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year. Of course, he took the Bearcats to their first ever college football playoff berth, and it was the first ever for a non-Power 5 school since the playoff began in 2014. And here is what Nate Trice had to say about Ridder potentially going to Seattle. He is Bleacher Report's NFL draft scout, and he said he has the arm strength to drive the ball and handled true drop-back concepts in college time and again. He can start early for a Seahawks team that's trying to navigate a post-Wilson world. Look, Desmond Ridder has had a really good college career at this point, but at that position of what you're talking about, a first-round, top 10 pick, too high for me, the idea of taking Ridder in that position for the Seahawks here. It just doesn't make sense to use that number 9 pick overall for a guy that should be available come the second round, and no one's going to give this guy a first-round grade. It's just a matter of need, and the Seahawks have a lot of other needs that they can take care of that would be much better suited for them with that number 9 overall pick. What do you guys think? Should the Seahawks draft Desmond Ridder? I would say that if he's available in the second round, not opposed to it by any means, but number 9 overall, no thanks. Type D for draft, type P for pass if you think the Seahawks should bring in Desmond Ridder. That's D for draft, P for pass. The current Seahawks depth chart right now at quarterback is not great, to say the least. Drew Lock is quarterback number 1 right now. Jacob Eason, quarterback number 2. And when you look at this situation for the Seahawks, it's really unclear the direction they're going to go, whether it's bringing in another quarterback via trade or free agency or through the draft. And Armando Salguero from Outkick.com was at the NFL meetings this week, and speaking with Pete Carroll and company, this is what Salguero's takeaway was from the Seahawks situation. He said, Locke came to Seattle so talented and gifted that he remains a developmental, Carroll's words, player 3 years into his career. That's what Carroll used to describe Drew Lock as talented and gifted. And even with that super talented and gifted developmental player on the roster, the Seahawks remain in the market for a quarterback. More from Salguero. He says they obviously realize they still need one who might eventually succeed Wilson, and it would be a joke if they think that they have the guy on the roster right now. Yeah, rough times for the Seahawks because of their quarterback situation, so they smile to avoid the crying. And you know, I think Salguero is absolutely right here. The fact of the matter is, at this point in time, the Seahawks quarterback room is a mess, and it's unclear the direction that they want to go with this right now. Just 3 weeks ago, we heard from Pete Carroll say that they had every intention to keep Russell Wilson, that he was going to be the foundation of their franchise for years to come. Now, all of a sudden, Drew Lock is your number 1 quarterback, and you don't know what you're going to do next. It's a tough predicament for the Seahawks right now, and it's very uneasy, I think, if you're a Seahawks fan going through this. Now, here on Seahawks Today by Chat Sports, we have ongoing Seahawks coverage for you all the time with daily videos and content, and the best way to get that content is to be an award-winning subscriber to Seahawks Today. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. For nonstop Seahawks coverage, hit that red sub button, and we would love you to be a part of our coverage here on Seahawks Today. Noah Fant is one of the newest members of the Seattle Seahawks, and he came over in the Russell Wilson trade, and his 5th-year deadline is coming up for his 5th-year option. That date is May 2nd, quickly approaching. Here is what Seattle would have to pay Fant in 2023. Just under $7 million. And the numbers for Fant, not bad. Since 2019, he's 8th in the National Football League in receiving yards among tight ends. This was a decent find for the Seahawks getting out of that Russell Wilson trade to find a player like Fant. And here's some more analysis for you. This comes from Pro Football Focus, as Brad Spielberger had this to say about Fant and Seattle. After the Seahawks agreed to trade quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos for a gigantic compensation package that includes Fant, it would make little sense to not exercise a 5th-year option for the talented young weapon at a value of less than $7 million. He went on to say, Fant has been highly productive thus far at a position with a steep learning curve and on a Broncos team that had a lot of receiving weapons and not great quarterback play. And that's the thing. When you look at this, he had a number of quarterbacks he played with and good receivers around him, and he was still effective. I would love to see Noah Fant in Seattle for a long time. Look at the depth chart of tight ends right now. Fant's your number 1 option. Will Dissly's more of a blocking tight end. I think that could be a good combo and something you could ride with for a while. For me, it's an easy call. Pay Noah Fant, give him that fifth-year option, and I wouldn't wait much longer to give him a longer contract beyond that within reason. I think that Noah Fant could be a part of this Seahawks franchise for a long time, and I expect a big year for Noah Fant in Seattle in 2022. Let us know. Are you rooting for Noah Fant? Are you a new fan of Noah Fant? Let us know by liking this video if you're rooting for him in 2022, if you want to see him have a big year.